The year was 1624, when Europe's hunger for knowledge rivaled its hunger for gold. Men with weathered faces and ink-stained fingers set sail to claim the unknown, explorers, scholars, treasure hunters, all bound together by equal measures of curiosity and greed. Among them was Captain Rodrigo de la Fuente, a Spaniard of noble birth but tarnished fortune. His reputation had been built on bold discoveries in the New World, but years of silence had dimmed his fame. He sought redemption, one final expedition that would etch his name into eternity. Alongside him sailed Father Esteban, a Franciscan scholar obsessed with lost civilizations, and a ragged crew hardened by storms, blades, and hunger. The whispers that lured them came from traders along the Gulf, men who spoke of jungles swallowing entire cities, and of a temple deep underground where the sun itself was said to sleep. They called it La Casa del Sol Oculto, the House of the Hidden Sun. It was no ordinary ruin, they swore. Those who ventured near claimed to hear voices in the trees, and the ground itself seemed to tremble with unseen weight. Most men turned back. But Captain Rodrigo, desperate for glory, pressed forward. For weeks they hacked through vines and roots that curled like serpents, crossing rivers that pulled men beneath their surfaces without warning. They lost 2 to fever, 1 to jaguars, and nearly all to despair. Yet Esteban's parchment map, pieced together from fragments of an older manuscript, drove them onward. On the 32nd day, they reached a clearing unlike any other. The earth sloped downward, where moss-covered stones hinted at human design. At the heart of it lay a gaping maw in the earth, an entrance framed with carved pillars, half buried by centuries of collapse. The air that drifted upward was cool, unnatural, carrying the scent of stone and secrets. Carved upon the archway were symbols no man could decipher fully, spirals, circles, and an image of a sun devoured by shadow. The descent was slow and heavy, the stone passage narrowing as if the earth itself meant to swallow intruders. Each torch crackled faintly, revealing walls carved with reliefs, men bowing to the sun, then recoiling as darkness eclipsed it. The carvings grew more violent the deeper they went, depicting sacrifice, fire, and collapse. The floor was slick with moss, and rubble crunched beneath their boots. One of the crew, Morales, muttered that the place smelled of graves. Esteban corrected him, no, not graves, altars. Their path widened into a hall supported by thick stone columns. It was here they saw the first great wheel, carved into the wall, its edges engraved with glyphs resembling both stars and numbers. Esteban traced it with trembling fingers. "A calendar," he whispered. "But not one I've ever seen. This is older, more precise. It marks, not days, but cycles of the heavens." Rodrigo's eyes glinted in the firelight. "And what do the cycles promise?" "An event," Esteban said. "One that repeats every few centuries. But look," his finger hovered over a line of glyphs. "It warns of keepers, guardians of the circle. Their task is to restrain." His words trailed off as a sound echoed down the hall. It was not the shuffle of boots, nor the drip of water. It was a low, resonant hum, vibrating through stone like a heartbeat. The men froze, their torches flickering as if disturbed by unseen breath. "Wind," Rodrigo said firmly. But even his voice trembled. They pressed forward, and at last reached the chamber that would haunt their dreams forever, the very chamber shown in the carved drawings, now real before their eyes. The ceiling rose high, though fractured, with sunlight piercing through a circular hole. Dust fell like golden rain. On the far wall loomed a vast stone disk, its center carved with spirals and radiating lines. Smaller wheels surrounded it, their purpose a mystery. The explorers gazed in awe. The chamber seemed alive, as if listening. "Gentlemen." The explorers fanned out through the vast chamber, their torches casting restless shadows against the stone. Every inch of the walls was carved with glyphs and spirals that seemed to shimmer when the light touched them. The central disk, looming like a frozen sun, drew their attention most. Father Esteban fell to his knees before it, whispering Latin prayers, though his eyes were fixed not on God but on the ancient carvings. "This is no mere decoration," he said breathlessly. "It is a calendar, a celestial map. These lines, they trace the movements of the sun, the moon, even the eclipses. Whoever built this, they mastered time itself." Captain Rodrigo approached, running his hand across the stone. The grooves were so precise they felt machine-cut, though such tools should not exist in this age. He smiled, though unease crept into him like damp. "Time," he said softly. "Then we stand in a place where time was conquered." One of the crew, Morales, spotted a fissure at the base of the wall. With effort, he cleared rubble to reveal a stairway descending deeper. The opening exhaled a chill, as though the earth's lungs sighed. But before they could explore, Esteban raised a trembling hand. "Wait, look here." At the bottom edge of the disc was a carving unlike the others. It depicted men kneeling before the circle of the sun. But beside them stood tall, formless figures, their eyes empty. Beneath was a phrase carved in a tongue no man knew, but Esteban translated through symbols and prayer. "To awaken the cycle is to awaken its keepers." The words settled like ash upon the men. Some backed away, muttering. But Rodrigo, ever bold, said, "Legends are chains for weaker men. This temple is no tomb, it is a vault." And vaults were built to be opened. Still, the unease grew. The chamber seemed to lean inward, listening. The low hum that haunted them since their descent grew louder when they neared the disc. It was as though the stone itself pulsed with life. Then the tray. The stairway was narrow, its steps crumbling with each footfall. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, until their breath clouded in torchlight. The silence was not pure, it carried whispers, faint as sighs, threading through the corridors. At first the men thought it wind. But wind does not speak in voices. They reached a chamber smaller than the last, though no less grim. Along its walls lay skeletal remains, slumped against stone, their armor and tools rusted into dust. Skulls stared hollow-eyed, jaws agape as if caught in a final scream. Esteban knelt beside one, brushing dirt from a crumbling satchel. Within, to his astonishment, was a journal, pages brittle with age yet still legible. The writing was not in their tongue but resembled the script of early Spanish explorers. His voice quavered as he translated. "We opened the circle and the shadows came. They whispered in dreams, promising knowledge, but their gifts were poison. One by one, we fell, not by blade nor hunger, but by fear that devoured us whole." The men exchanged looks of dread. These bones were not natives, they were explorers, like themselves, who had come centuries earlier. Rodrigo, though shaken, spat on the floor. "Cowards! They lacked the strength to claim what they found. We are not them." But his words rang hollow. For even as he spoke, the whispers grew louder. Not from the journal, not from the wind, but from the very walls themselves. Voices overlapping, pleas, prayers, curses, all in languages both familiar and lost. The torches sputtered, as if unseen hands tried to snuff them out. Morales swore he saw shadows move, darting just beyond the flame. Others gripped their weapons, though against what, they could not say. Then came the sealed door. It rose at the far end of the chamber, massive and imposing, carved with symbols painted once in crimson, now faded but still sinister. Unlike the other walls, this one was smooth, unyielding, as though meant never to open. At it,